What's up, y'all? Talon here, and today I'm excited to be sharing another top-level team in the form of rental code. This time it's actually a team that isn't public on Twitter or anywhere else as far as I'm aware, but was doing really well on the Pokemon Showdown ladder. I don't have the EV spreads or anything like that, but a couple friends of mine were playing against it, so I thought it'd be cool to share with you guys and yeah, take it on the ladder just because I think it's a really cool team and it's the first high-level use of Shiftry that I've seen, and it's not in a way that I was expecting, so I thought it'd be really cool to share. If you're interested in using the team on the Battle Stadium ladder, I do have the rental code in the top right of the video, as well as in the description, along with a Pokepaste with the EV spreads. I do recreate these teams in-game myself with custom EV spreads if they aren't made public, so yeah, if you appreciate that effort, please subscribe to the channel, aiming to hit 1,000 subs in the near future. With all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of the team. So to start off, we have the Shiftry, which has the new Wind Rider ability that it was given in the DLC, shifting away from probably something silly like Pickpocket that isn't generally super strong competitively. But now we have Wind Rider, which makes it immune to moves like Heat Wave, Icy Wind, Blizzard, Bleak Wind Storm, etc., and giving it an attack boost in that circumstance, and also giving you an attack boost whenever you enter the field and Tailwind is on the field. So that's a really strong ability. It single-handedly made Bramblegast a contender for the World Championship. It almost won Worlds. It got top 16. So yeah, also had some consistent regional runs with that Pokemon as well. So it's a really potent ability, and Shiftry has pretty decent stats, not as high as Bramblegast, but it has some really unique traits that make it good in its own right. Among those traits is Fake Out and Knockoff. So one weakness that Bramblegast had before it got Poltergeist in the DLC is to use a strong stab move that wasn't Grass type, it had to go for a Terraghost Terra Blast. Shiftry doesn't have that problem. It can always go for a really strong Dark Stab and Knockoff, do pretty high damage to anything that isn't holding a booster energy. It also has Fake Out, so consistently lets you go for a Fake Out and get Tailwind up with a Pokemon that isn't maybe Prankster, like Tornadus Tailwind or something like that, so that pairs really well with the Articuno on this team. For the Grass type, we have Leaf Blade, which is really nice. It's high base power while also not having to risk something like Power Whip missing, which is really kind of the bane of Bramblegast existence. And as the last move, it's actually Icy Wind, and Shiftry has, I believe, a 90 base special attack, so I've gone for a naive nature on this one, which means you're doing a little bit more damage on the Icy Winds against flying types and grass types, which I think can really serve the rest of the team really well. The Landorus now, although it's not running Choice Scarf, after an Icy Wind, still going to be getting some good outspeeds, and the Heatran is a Life Orb timid one, so after an Icy Wind, you'll be outspeeding and knocking out Fluttermane with Flash Cannon. Next on the team is Ninetales with Light Clay, mainly there to set up the Snow as well as Aurora Veil. The Snow mainly for the Articuno with the Snow Cloak ability, basically decreasing the accuracy of all opponents' moves that are 100% accurate to, I believe it's 80 accuracy, so that's really strong, as well as Never Melt Ice, boosting its damage on the Blizzards that are now 100% accurate. Just really good synergy there. It has Moonblast and Blizzard as just general offensive coverage. Blizzard is okay damage, not a very high special attack on the Ninetales, so you won't be doing too much, and Moonblast does a lot of damage to Urshifu if they don't have a lot of bulk investment. Fake Tears is the last one on this moveset, mainly to pair well with things like Freeze Dry, Blizzard, and namely the Heatran's damage output. After Fake Tears, the Life Orb Heatran is just doing crazy damage, so pretty cool way to complete that set, where we usually see like Protect or maybe Freeze Dry. We have a little bit more proactive of an option. Next up is the previously mentioned Articuno. It's a Terra Fire, Never Melt Ice, Blizzard set, so with the Never Melt Ice, I believe you'll be getting the knockout on most Ogerpon, the ones. I mean, you'll definitely get the water one because you're doing 4 times damage with Freeze Dry. The rock one probably folds. The fire one, I kind of doubt it, but you're also knocking out Urshifu with the Freeze Dry on the Never Melt Ice. The Terra Fire is just really nice to resist things like fairy type damage that come out from Fluttermane. You do have a very high physical defense after the Snow boost, so you're basically trying to take care of the main special attackers in the format, and that's kind of just Fluttermane, so you'll be able to go for Terra Fire in front of its fairy type moves. Tailwind is just really good to pair well with the Shiftry as well as the Heatran. The rest of the Pokemon on the team don't really need it that badly, but once you get those Pokemon, the Tailwind, basically they're cleaning up opponents really easily, especially if you have Freeze Dry and Blizzard supporting them along the way. Next up is the Heatran. As previously mentioned, it is timid, max speed, or at least pretty close to that, so that it's outspeeding and knocking out Fluttermane after Icy Wind, as well as just generally taking advantage of the Tailwind. We have a Terra Fairy here. I think Terra Grass has kind of been losing a bit of steam just because Ogerpon being able to do 2 times damage with Mold Breaker on Ivy Cudgel if it's for the fire one is kind of annoying, so this is just a nice way to be able to Terra out of a fighting weakness while also having a pretty solid defensive type in general. Next is the Landorus with Assault Vest and Terra Water, not Terra Flying, just kind of taking advantage of its defensive prowess with the Intimidate and the Assault Vest to go for a pretty solid defensive type. This Pokemon makes incredible use of the Aurora Veil. It's already so bulky with Intimidate and Assault Vest that once you get the Veil up, you're able to consistently pivot in and out, keep cycling Intimidate, and just do a lot of damage while not taking much yourself. Last up is the Ogerpon Teal Mask form, and I haven't seen a lot of this Pokemon, even though I think it's actually very good. Having the option to mix up your item on the Ogerpon, I think, is really an underrated aspect. And this one goes for the Choice Scarf, basically not having to go for the Grass Terra if you don't want to, but if you do, after the +1 boost of the Choice Scarf and the Embody aspect, you're essentially able to outspeed Pokemon even if they've set up Tailwind, which can be really nice against like an Urshifu that's unsuspecting. Like they get Tailwind up, they're like, okay, now I outspeed and hit you with close combat. Nope, if I go for Terra Grass, I actually just outspeed you still. So that's a pretty cool option. Also being able to U-turn. If you lead Articuno plus Ogerpon, you can U-turn out into your Ninetales and go for the basically the Aurora Veil, or you could switch out, not the Aurora Veil, but go for a Blizzard. You could also U-turn next to Shiftry, or next to Articuno, go for Tailwind, and then get Shiftry in and Wind Rider. So there's a lot of cool combinations, and to round out the set, we have Stomping Tantrum for Heatran and Superpower for things like Dark types and just generally good coverage move in that slot. Once again, I just saw this team because a friend was playing someone on High Ladder and they sent over this open team sheet, and I thought it was way too fire not to share. So yeah, if you enjoy the effort it took to recreate, source the team, and then just generally recreate it in game, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's get into the battles now. Okay, first one of the day, and they actually do have a lot of DLC Pokemon. They have Ambipom, Milotic, Clefable. Okay. Along with Ceruledge, which now gets Poltergeist, which is not a negligible addition to its move pool. It's actually pretty good. I do think this is a very good Shiftry game. Coverage-wise, it's like pretty strong. Lando's a little odd into all their Pokemon. I think Ogerpon, Choice Scarf could be pretty cool. Just to basically switch into Ninetales and you turn around. Man, I do want to bring a lot of Pokemon to this game, though. Like, all of them seem so good. Heatran fares pretty well against a lot of their guys. So I think I'm going to go with that over the Shiftry, maybe. I think I just need to protect Articuno pretty well, so I might not lead it. Maybe I could. Alternatively, I can just protect it by leading Shiftry, go Ninetales, and then... Whoops. Yeah, I think Heatran in the back is pretty consistent. And I have enough grass type coverage for the Milotic, I think. But yeah, interesting team from them. They have a lot of off meta picks. They seem pretty strong against Landorus with the Chien-Pao Milotic. And honestly, a lot of the times the Terra Grass Ceruledge is pretty good going for bulk up. Bitter Blades, you're not able to outstall it very well. So, yep. Left Lando on the bench here, but I'm sure you're happy about that. Pretty boring Pokemon Lando. So Milotic and Ambipom comes out. Something Ambipom can do is like go for... Well, first off, it can probably go for a faster fake out than me pretty easily, which I don't want to deal with. So I'm going to go for Tailwind on the chance they fake out my Shiftry and go into Ninetales because it's not going to take a lot from an Ice move. Now, notably, Milotic oftentimes either carry Ice Beam or Icy Wind, and Shiftry is actually immune to that. So that's something to keep in mind if they did go for that. But they're going for a Terra of their own. Interesting. Could be defensive on the Milotic side, but it is going to be the Ambipom. Terra Rock. Okay. Rock Slide. Electric. Interesting. Fake out into the Articuno. They do hit the 80% one. It is Life Orb. Fair enough. But the Articuno did go for Icy Wind. That's kind of annoying. Shiftry could have gone off there, but it is what it is. Terra Blast is kind of priming a knockout on us, but I think we can just go Aurora Veil here. because I doubt even like last resort they can't go for if they have Terra Blast. Yeah, they can't go for it if they don't have Terra Blast. And Terra Electric, basically no hit is going to knock out the Ninetales here. The Icy Wind drop could be relevant, but I think if I can get the Aurora Veil up, I'll be able to live a hit from the Ambipom and then get Tailwind up for my Shiftry later in the game. Ceruledge comes out, which is a really good switch in for them. Tempted to bring in my Heatran next turn and not get Tailwind. Yeah, it is Thunder Punch into the Ninetales, which is excellent play, but not doing a ton of damage. I think now we're walling them pretty hard. But I don't think I'll live a double up onto the Articuno, so I want to bring in the Heatran, and I think Shiftry is probably a pretty bad switch in for me. I think I'll go for just a Blizzard, get some damage onto Ambipom as well as any chip onto Ceruledge. But they don't have Terra on Ceruledge anymore, so that's pretty good. Thunder Punch, even with the Life Orb and the Terra Electric, not doing nothing, but Aurora Veil definitely doing its share. And we do still outspeed the Ceruledge, which means we'll outspeed with Heatran. It is Bitter Blade into the Ninetales though. Good play. Which is, fine. I'm kind of glad my Heatran is off the field at this point. Or my Ninetales is off because I can go into my Articuno with the Aurora Veil. At this point, I'd be pretty confident in getting Tailwind up. We are losing the Hail turns pretty quickly, but I think if we get Tailwind up, then Shiftry Heatran should just win. If they have Stomping Tantrum on the Ambipom, that would be an issue. So maybe I consider going for Terra. Yeah, they don't though. Terra Fairy in this instance. Thunder Punch again into the Heatran. Maybe going for a Para, which they do not get. Life Orb Earth Power does not too much to Ceruledge, actually. Okay. We do get the Tailwind, but we're a little bit fishing now for a miss. I don't know if Shiftry has the gas to clean it up. Okay, they Iron Head and they do miss. Really nice. But yeah, that was Assault Vest. Yeah, Blizzard isn't going to get a knockout. Shadow Sneak will maybe get close to a knockout. But just covering all their switches, Earth Power seems pretty good. Unless we give them a competitive boost. But I think, yeah, Blizzard feels pretty safe here. And our Heatran, as you can see, outspeeding the Articuno really fast on this Heatran to take advantage of Tailwind and Icy Wind from Shiftry. But yeah, a really unconventional team, just actually, these Pokemon aren't bad. They definitely have their weaknesses, but when leveraged correctly can be a little bit threatening. Like, this team is really, I think, really strong, but it does definitely have some... it can sometimes take a second to get going, and once you're going, you're like really in the driver's seat, but Articuno isn't Prankster Tailwind, it's slower. You're relying a bit on misses. The Ninetales isn't the fastest thing in the world. It can get knocked out pretty quick, so definitely a lot to consider with this team. And yeah, we have another turn of Tailwind. So if we want to, we can switch out the Shiftry on the last turn. But I think this turn I do like Freeze Dry, Flash Cannon. Probably not going to knock out Clefable, but get pretty close, yeah. And we could have doubled into one of them, but I think just solid damage on either should be good enough. Yeah, they're both in range of Shiftry, and oh, they actually surf themselves. Okay. So we will get to see the Wind Rider Shiftry. It would have been so cool if we had just gotten the Icy Wind Wind Rider turn 1. They definitely didn't know about it because they went for it, but I would have been cheesing just the same. All right, and yeah, Shiftry +1 boost, baby. And now we just clean up with Leaf Blade, so I definitely don't want to undersell the Freeze Dry damage though. Milotic's a very specially bulky Pokemon. It's kind of got a lackluster physical side, but the fact we were able to do like well over 50% with the Freeze Dry is really impressive. Like, Freeze Dry is a pretty low base power move. Articuno has low special attack, reasonably, not crazy low, but it's not super high. So that Freeze Dry doing that much is just really a testament to how much the Never Melt Ice buffs its offense. All right, we have a weather war for this one. We have the Fire Ogerpon, Ninetales, Lilligant Hisuian form, Fluttermane, Chlorophyll Leafeon most likely, and Chi-Yu. So Heatran is calling my name, I gotta tell ya. Everything against Lilligant, it's pretty good against. Yeah, that's definitely going to be my main avenue for this game. I do think Ogerpon is secretly going to be pretty good with the Choice Scarf and body aspect. We can actually outspeed anything on their team, go for U-turn, go for cool attack. So going to keep my eye on that one. Focus Sash Shiftry is actually calling my name a little bit. I think that has some value. Against Heat Wave, that's doing a lot of work. Yeah, I could see that being pretty cool. I think I actually like a little bit boring of a lead. Do I? Yeah, I like Fake Out Heatran lead. Seems pretty good to me. And then I'm actually not going to bother with a weather. I think Ogerpon actually fares pretty well with the Choice Scarf. So that's what I'm going to go for. So yeah, actually, I think Shiftry is actually going to be doing pretty well even without the Tailwind Wind Rider combination this battle, just because there's so much potential Heat Wave on this team. And just Fake Out's super high value against hyper offensive teams like this. They don't have a lot of defensive backbone, and they're going to struggle to get consistent turns against the Heatran, I would expect. So being able to create gaps through that should be nice. But Leftovers Heatran is a little more effective against these type of teams. Taking the Life Orb recoil is definitely non-negligible. And it probably should have been Lando on lead just because Lilligant Close Combat is a threat. Ooh, I did actually completely forget about Ogerpon's Mold Breaker ability. Yeah, that's a little annoying. But what are we going to do? They can Sleep Powder pretty safely. Close Combat could be an option too. Yep. Definitely a concern. Yeah. A little bit worried. I think Icy Wind's actually not a bad play for me. Like Protect Icy Wind seems pretty cool. I think I will go for that. Take advantage of that tech move, giving Shiftry even more utility. No Protects or Terras on either of them. And they Close Combat into the Heatran. Fair enough. And we get an Icy Wind off. We're actually outspeeding. That's unfortunate. We probably missed the... Yeah, we didn't break the Focus Sash on the Lilligant, which is highly unfortunate. And they go for Ivy Cudgel into the Shiftry, which is sad, but it is what it is. I can go for Terra on the Heatran now, which I do feel tempted to. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. I could have broken Sash and then gone for a knockoff. Well, not knockoff because I can't knock off the mask, but... Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. I think we do kind of have to go for Icy Wind this turn still and hope that they commit to Close Combat again. I could have gone up very, very big if I hit that attack, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, they don't switch out, so... I mean, they could just attack my Shiftry this turn and go for Ivy Cudgel, but they don't. Playing it a little bit risky. If we actually hit our attacks this turn, we're going to be not taking a double knockout. I don't think Heat Wave will knock out Ogerpon, but it'll get very close. Ooh, that's a bulky Ogerpon. But yeah, there's the Focus Sash on the Lilligant, so we could have gone for Icy Wind knockoff this turn and probably knocked out the Ogerpon, giving us some insurance on missing Icy Wind by burning the Lilligant. But yeah. So they do still have Ivy Cudgel into our Heatran because they haven't gone for Embody Aspect yet. And we'll see if that knocks out. Trailblaze, okay. That's an interesting option. I believe, it doesn't matter here, but I think if you go for Terra Grass and Trailblaze, it actually boosts its base power by a little bit. I could be wrong about that, but... Yeah, everything they bring in here now kinda feels like it gets messed up by Ogerpon or Lando. Like I outspeed their Ogerpon, so I don't have to worry about that. So it's just the other Pokemon. And I think other Pokemon is always going to lose to the Ogerpon. Ninetales comes out. So Landorus would have been a bit better here, but given they don't have really good offensive coverage, I'm not too worried about that. Like, I'm always just going to U-turn the Ninetales most likely, and Earth Power the Ogerpon. Flash Cannon is an option, but I don't think it will knock them out. Yeah, I think I'm just going to U-turn the Ninetales. Okay, yep, Spiky Shield, fair enough. Yeah, I just want to get the Lando out of here precisely because of that. I could have U-turned into the Ogerpon, which would have let me net a double knockout this turn. But it obviously just fails if they protect and potentially loses me my Ogerpon. So Lando would have been a little bit better, but I want it to be a little aggressive against Chi-Yu coming in. Burning Jealousy is interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I'm way happier they went for that instead of like Earth Power or something, or Heat Wave, because that could have burned. But yeah, they're -1 speed on the Ogerpon. So my Lando might not actually outspeed. 138, we do actually outspeed pretty easily. So that's a pretty safe Earth Power into U, and U-turn is not safe, I don't think. Well, let's think. Stomping will always get the Ninetales, so I think we just Earth Power U and Stomp U. It's like kind of inconsequential, I feel like, but maybe if they burn me, I don't knock out their Ogerpon. Hard to say, though. With our Ogerpon, with Choice Scarf and back, I do feel pretty confident no matter what. But they are switching out, and it's going to be the Flutter Mane, so yeah. Stomping would have been a little bit better, but marginally so. They get the speed boost, which is actually probably pretty relevant. Yeah, I would have cleaned this game up if I had gone for Heat Wave Stomp, but yeah, we're going to knock that out. They can still beat my Heatran because they removed their speed boost. This is actually going to turn out to be pretty close because of that speed raise, and they haven't terrored yet, so they can maybe just knock out my Ogerpon, but they don't know I'm Choice Scarf, I don't think. So going to be close, but yeah. The crit, probably not game breaking, if I had to guess. Yeah, I'm just going to protect Earthquake here. I think we're just trying to get the Ogerpon in. And we don't have enough turns to outspeed. They're going for a Terra of their own. If they Terra out of Embody Aspect, sure, yeah. Now, well, Woodhammer would still knock me out. Woodhammer would definitely still knock me out, but I think Woodhammer would win them the game if the recoil knocks them out. Okay, so protect. If for some reason they don't get after the Lando here, cool. But yeah, I could have covered that switch by flash cannoning. I just wasn't sure it would have knocked out. I think probably would have, but impossible to say. Thankfully, they don't Terra the Flutter Mane, which gives me pretty reasonable confidence that we'll outspeed the Ogerpon. I mean, we'll outspeed. We won't get knocked out by their Flutter Mane, although maybe Moonblast would get me. Hard to say. I think now we just go for Flash Cannon. Let's monitor the speeds here. Our Sunlight 2. Yeah, I think they will always outspeed me, unfortunately. And I think I probably have to Woodhammer the Ogerpon, and like I doubt Stomping Tantrum has the damage I need to win. Whoops, bump the table. Gonna be close. I think Flash Cannon feels correct in the Flutter Mane, and Ivy. Why do I not have Ivy Cudgel on this set? I'm Woodhammer. That's interesting. I don't remember if the original one had that or not, but I think I'll go Woodhammer and the Ogerpon. This might be a mistake, but okay, they go for Dazzling Gleam, which doesn't knock out Heatran, doesn't knock out Ogerpon. Let's see how this oh no. Oh boy, okay. Oh man. Okay. I should have been Stomping Tantrum because Life Orb knocks me out and then they knock out my Ogerpon. Okay. Yeah, it should have been Stomping Tantrum then. Man. Okay. The Dazzling Gleam probably should. Like, not really sure. Like, I guess they had to have been specs, but I was expecting Moonblast there. Oh, that is a heartbreaker. Horn Leech, and it does knock out with the attack boost. So close. Oh, yeah. Should have been Stomping Tantrum. Whoopsie. I think even Ivy Cudgel, I might have lived the Horn Leech, but yeah, good game to them. We actually do take a loss to the Sun team. Pretty close one. Yeah, the Sun unsurprisingly beating the Snow. Having a Pokemon like Ogerpon, which can ignore Heatran's ability and do a ton of damage through it, is just really valuable for Sun teams. So I can definitely see why that's gaining popularity. Usually it's manual Sun, but definitely see a lot of room for passive ability Sun to take up some of the metagame. All right, this one we have a pretty interesting one. We have Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Tyranitar, Garchomp, and Goldengo Amoonguss. Kind of like a bunch of combinations. You could see like maybe Nasty Plot Goldengo plus Terra Flying plus Earthquake on Garchomp. Similar Terra Flying Tyranitar plus Garchomp. And then the Dondozo mode. The sand is definitely a big challenge for the Articuno. Kind of want to be proactive about beating that. Tyranitar is really good for them in a lot of situations. I think Shiftry is actually pretty valuable. Does well into Goldengo if they haven't Terra. Decent into Tar. Actually takes a ton of damage from Pollen Puff from Amoonguss, so gotta watch out for that. But I think Lando is a pretty safe lead all around. I like Ogerpon. Its ability to switch around gives me some value there. I could see Articuno being pretty good, actually, with Terra Water, maybe, against Dondozo. I don't know, though. If they're Oblivious, it could be dangerous for my Heatran. I think I'll actually maybe steer away from the Heatran here, just because it's not really good against Dondozo, Tyranitar, or Garchomp. And it is good against Amoonguss, but I don't know. I feel like with all the ice types on my team, they might be scared off from being Amoonguss. I do feel like it's going to be Sand plus Dondozo for them, because Sand is just so effective against my Hail mode. Like Rock Slide, one it KOs Articuno, or gets pretty close, but it is Goldengo Amoonguss, so Lando going to be really solid here, no doubt. And yeah, with no Terra, this is a little annoying. Do they go for Make It Rain here or Nasty Plot? That's the main question. I think I like U-turn into the Amoonguss and probably Stomping Tantrum into the Goldengo. Just do a lot of damage there. I could just also switch Earthquake. That's an option. I think I like U-turn here, and honestly double U-turn would be kind of cool, but Stomping Tantrum's probably a little safer. They are going for a Terra of their own, unfortunate. So leaving my Lando in here probably would have been a lot better for me. Oh, Amoonguss, interesting. So trying to dodge the Terra Flying most likely. Terra Flying, Terra Blast, but I don't have it in this circumstance, so it's actually just going to boot. Proving pretty effective for me. They Rage Powder, so didn't want to get Stomping Tantrums, so had a lot of good plays this turn. Earthquake switch would have been probably the best one. But yeah, now Goldengo is going to be in range of a knockout next turn. We're U-turning out on the Amoonguss. At worst, we take a Rocky Helmet hit and bring our Shiftry in to be threatening Leaf Blade, Stomping Tantrum next turn. And they don't have Intimidate, so yeah, Shiftry looking pretty solid. Which is going to do more damage. Freeze Dry or Leaf Blade. 154 off of 170 plus the boost off of Nevermelt Ice versus... Can we see the move? No, we can't. I think Leaf Blade is like Is it 70 base power or 80 or 90? I don't really remember. I think Articuno is probably a little safer, but Shiftry is cooler, so double grass, baby. Yeah, I think now we just go for Leaf Blade. It probably knocks out, but they're not threatening Spore or anything like that, so I think we're cool with this. They can't Terraflying Goldango, so that's good. And there we go. Bye, Goldango. You are +2, but now you are plus gone. And Leaf Blade doesn't knock out. Yeah, it's probably 70 base power. Weak Shiftry. Come on, dude. Don't get Pollen Puff knocked out. They Spore. Yeah, that's an option, but probably not the best one. All right. Who are you bringing out? Tyranitar. That is not Dondozo. That's looking pretty dicey for you then. Yeah, Lando could come in pretty safely here if I want to, but I think I'll preserve it for the most likely Garchomp in the back. Yeah, knockoff. I mean, Leaf Blade safer. And just stomp. Stomp the Amoonguss, baby. Take that knockout. They could have switched into Garchomp, but any stomping tantrum damage softens it up for basically the Landorus going for Earthquake to close the game out for me. And we do hit the Leaf Blade. Gonna do a fair chunk. Yeah, that's the thing about this Shiftry Avalanche. Okay, that's a cool move. Definitely a cool move with all the Ice-type Pokemon in the format, or the Grass types. But yeah, as you can see, the Leaf Blade didn't 1-hit KO Amoonguss, but it did like maybe 60 to 70. Same for the Tyranitar, about 60 to 70. But if you get that attack boost, you're actually starting to get into the 1-hit KO range, so you can see the value of Wind Rider there. We can actually get kind of nasty with Icy Wind here if we want to, and I think we will. If they're Sandveil, Garchomp, which they most likely are, we do have like maybe a 75% chance to hit this attack, but we don't lose a lot by just switching an Icy Wind in here anyways. And if we hit, we are essentially just winning the game. Dragonclaw doing a lot. Life Orb, so they're slowly taking themselves down. We do double hit. And Garchomp not taking a lot of damage. I wonder if that's Assault Vest. That took really little damage. I mean, it's Life Orb. It literally can't be. I did risk a bit on the Landorus Avalanche. I kind of forgot. Kind of was just making cool plays at that point. But now we bring in the Articuno pretty safely. We're going to outspeed Garchomp and freeze dry it and tear water to avoid the mischance from winning them the game. Yeah, a couple more turns of Sandstorm. So, we're Terra Fire, we're not Terra Water. We did lower their stats though, right? So I feel like Earthquake is probably fine. And then Ogerpon just cleans it up. We just go for Earthquake, and that should knock out the Tyranitar and bring the Garchomp low enough. It does get the knockout on a crit, but I think we were in a place where the Life Orb recoil would have just beat them anyways after 1 or 2 turns. So yeah, not feeling too bad about that one. Okay, cool one here. We have Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Ninetales, Grimmsnarl, Palmont, and Scizor. So I think the aim for them is set up the Aurora Veil and then go for maybe a Light Screen and Reflect at the same time. I actually don't know if that works. And then just go for Dondozo. But I think Heatran kind of counters a lot of their leads. Like it lets me go for Heat Wave, Flash Cannon, etc., etc. I don't know how much value I get. Fake Tears, I actually get a lot of value out of on Ninetales, so might go for that. Articuno seems pretty okay. Ogerpon, Lando U-turn could be pretty nice. Plus Intimidate if they're oblivious or something like that. And I have Terra Water to handle a lot of their stuff. So I could see Lando being good. But I think Fake Out plus Shiftry plus Freeze Dry will probably be sufficient. And truthfully, they are the cooler mons on the team, so I do want to get them actually going. I don't think I've gotten the Tailwind Wind Rider strat going too hard yet, and I think this is potentially a prime opportunity to do so. So I think the goal here is going to be match Aurora Veil with that and the ice type snow defense buff. We'll be tanking hits from the Dondozo reasonably well unless they get a couple order ups up. But if they're doing that, then we're getting fake tears off and intimidate. So yep, it is Sizzle or Palmot. Okay. So Lando would have been a little better for us. That's a little challenging. Yeah, we don't have a great answer to that. Lando would have been exceptional on lead here, but it is what it is. I think we go Protect and probably just Aurora Veil. They probably fake out us to stop that, but like they have to fake out Bullet Punch. They didn't go for a Terra, which is interesting. Oh, that did knock out. Okay. Honestly, with the Snow Boost and the bit of defensive investment that I have, I would have expected that to live, but not the case. Interesting. Close Combat comes out. Yeah, that's actually, my plan was pretty contingent on that not happening, so we'll bring in Shiftry, fake out the Palmot, and go for Heat Wave. And I think that'll probably knock out with Life Orb. If not, looking pretty bad. But yeah, I think it's a little weird they just left their Sizzler like that. It is doing a ton of damage and kind of sweeping my team, but if this Heat Wave double connects and gets a double knockout, I think I have kind of come back on the lead. Yeah, okay. So we did trade the Ninetales for basically just more accurate Blizzards and a bit of a defense boost on Articuno, but I think that's kind of fair trade. They haven't burned their Terra, so usually it's Terra Grass, so Freeze Dry is kind of just going to be my answer regardless to Dondozo, but there is the Tatsu. And it's probably going to be Dondozo too, yeah. Okay. I feel like Earthquake's their likely play, but if they order up my Articuno on Switch, it could be kind of dicey. Heatran's not totally, like, it's not super valuable at this point. And I don't just want to get Earthquaked, truthfully, so I'm going to switch out into the Articuno. I feel like they'd probably just Earthquake here. And I don't want to just give up the Heatran just yet. Although there could have been some value in getting the Shiftry in that turn. Order up. It is into Articuno. Good play. Wave Crash next turn will probably knock me out, unfortunately. I wish I could go for Terra Water, but unfortunately not the case. Okay. So good play from them. I think I now just have to go for... I mean, they should beat the Heatran 1v1. If they go for Wave Crash, I just lose on Articuno, so I think I'm going to switch and Protect. I feel like they're maybe feeling a little bit of fear from the Articuno, and not really the Heatran based on how they targeted that turn. So I'm going to switch into Shiftry here and Protect, and if we get a turn off on them here, good, but if not, eh. Like, really, they shouldn't be worried about the Heatran. They should be worried about the Articuno. They are Dragon Terra. Interesting. Really bad against Blizzard, but really good against Shiftry, which I have to be very conscious of. And Snow turns are ticking down, so they did order up into the Articuno. Fair enough. But yeah, Dragon is going to be, the same against Freeze Dry, but weaker to Blizzard. I think I do run out of Snow this turn, so it's kind of inconsequential, but I will go for Fake Out and Tailwind. And they would have just let me Blizzard, but I mean, obviously, it's not going to do too much. Okay. I think one way I could win this game is actually letting Shiftry stall them out. Or like stalling enough turns so that I get my Heatran to be able to 1v1 them. What's my Terra here? Terra Steel, that's pretty useless. Knockoff is going to do more than... Oop, not myself. I don't think I have to go for Blizzard. Like I might, but we'll chance the damage here. Yeah, we're knocking off their leftovers, so no stall available for them. Blizzard probably would have gotten them into Flash Cannon range. I actually do need them to knock out my Articuno here, I think. They do, fair enough. So based on damage now, I'm pretty sure knockoff will do more than Leaf Storm. So they're getting the attack raises, but that's way better than them getting speed raises, honestly. Getting dicey, though. I think Flash Cannon knockoff is going to be pretty close to a knockout. I don't think Icy Wind is right at all. But it could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think I would lose still. Like, I think I would still lose to the Tatsugiri if I, like, for example, Icy Wind and then Flash Cannon and it didn't knock out. I think I would still not have the... Like, because they would knock out Shiftry with Earthquake or some other move. Wave Crash into my Heatran. I think I have to go for the knockout this turn. I can't, like, try and outspeed the Dondozo next turn. And Flash Cannon does a lot, but I think knockoff's going to be maybe a little shy. Ah, just shy. Okay. And they did Earthquake. And that's going to knock out Shiftry. Don't really have the bulk there, and it gets me in Life Orb chip range. So that's... Man, okay, so close, so close. I think if my Pokemon were trained a little more offensively, I think the Shiftry is jolly and the Heatran is timid as well. Like, if I'm running those boosting natures, I think I do get the knockout, but generally speed on a Tailwind team like this is a little more high value, but this is one of those circumstances where speed kind of doesn't mean anything when Dondozo was just sitting there chipping you down. Yep, and Tatsugiri pops out the mouth, having done nothing the whole battle and closing it out that way. So that is going to do it for the High Ladder Snow Team. We were able to feature some cool Pokemon like Shiftry and Choice Scarf Ogerpon. Don't think we had the best luck in terms of victories in the battles, but had a lot of fun. It's not really my speed, definitely different than what I'm used to, but it's always good to try out new styles of team. If you want to try the team out for yourself, the rental code is in the top right of the screen, of course, as well as the description below, as well as a Pokepaste of the team with the EV spreads I filled in. With all that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, and peace, y'all.